Many fans are on the edge of their seats, eagerly waiting to see where Utah Jazz forward Lauri Markkanen will end up this offseason. Despite all the buzz, it looks like Markkanen might stick around the Great Salt Lake for a while. Rumor has it that after checking out his trade prospects, the Jazz are leaning towards renegotiating and extending his contract, thanks to some clever cap space management. Markkanen, who's about to enter the final year of his contract with a cool $18 million paycheck for the 2024-25 season, becomes eligible for a contract extension on August 6th. Given his stellar performance over the past 2 years in Utah, he's expected to land a pretty hefty deal. So in today's video, we're diving into the big question. Which team is signing Lauri Markkanen? Spoiler alert, it might just be the Jazz. Let's get into it. Last season, Markkanen played in 55 games and recorded remarkable stats: 23.2 points, 8.2 rebounds, and 2.0 assists per game. His all-around game has caught the eye of teams aiming to be contenders next season and beyond. The Golden State Warriors are one of such teams, considering Markkanen as part of their retooling process following the departure of Klay Thompson. Despite their failed attempts to acquire Paul George, the Warriors' head staff has even considered leveraging their future draft capital to make a move for Markkanen. The dire prospects of a post-Steph Curry world make the Warriors' future first-round picks and pick swaps particularly valuable. Golden State has floated a proposal centered around Moses Moody, multiple first-round picks, multiple pick swaps, and several second-round picks. However, the Jazz have demanded a significant haul, including Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, and additional picks, which has been a deal-breaker for the Warriors so far, according to league sources. Markkanen, set to be one of the most coveted free agents in 2025, also holds significant leverage in these discussions. Any team willing to part with substantial assets for the 7-foot forward would likely want assurances that he's interested in signing a long-term deal. Although Utah has expressed interest in these picks throughout negotiations, the Jazz have not yet been persuaded to let go of their 7-year veteran. The Spurs are reportedly in the mix for 7-footer Lauri Markkanen, and they have the assets to make a deal happen if they want to speed up their rebuild around rising superstar Victor Wembanyama. Markkanen, who turned 27 in May, could be the perfect partner for Wembanyama. He could elevate the team's performance without putting immediate win-now pressure on their young cornerstone. A front-court pairing of Wembanyama and Markkanen would be a powerhouse of size, length, and two-way skill, offering paint-to-perimeter scoring, versatile defense, and on- and off-ball utility. Imagine veteran point guard Chris Paul setting up this dynamic duo for a season. San Antonio could be on the verge of something special. With players like Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, this year's number 4 overall picks Stephon Castle, Jeremy Sohan, and a stockpile of 12 first-round draft picks between 2025 and 2031, the Spurs have plenty of firepower to tempt the Jazz. The big question for San Antonio is whether they'd be willing to part with young talent like Vassell or a prize pick like Castle, and just how many first-round picks they'd be ready to offer to make a serious playoff push next season. The Kings went hard after Utah Jazz star Lauri Markkanen before ultimately landing DeMar DeRozan. Their urgency to add another star was crucial. Waiting for Markkanen to become available could have been their downfall. Despite the rumors about Markkanen's trade availability, the Kings were firm in keeping rising star Keegan Murray out of trade talks, as the 23-year-old is a key part of their plans. In a notable move, the Kings acquired DeRozan in a sign-and-trade deal with the Chicago Bulls. The trade, which didn't involve Murray, sent veteran forward Harrison Barnes and Chris Duarte to Chicago, along with a 2031 unprotected pick swap and 2 second-round selections. Now, with a new core featuring De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, Keegan Murray, DeMar DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis, Sacramento boasts one of the most talented lineups in the league on paper. However, fans will have to wait and see if this talent translates into the postseason success the Kings have been chasing for the past 2 decades. Trading for Markkanen would have been a franchise-altering move, but with that option off the table, DeRozan stands as one of the best backup options available. The Kings are undoubtedly in a better position now than they were 2 weeks ago. Landing Markkanen would have elevated their offseason to another level, but giving up Murray might have been too steep a price to pay. The New Orleans Pelicans are also in the hunt for star forward Lauri Markkanen. While Markkanen would be a significant asset to the Pelicans, acquiring him could mean parting ways with their star forward Brandon Ingram and negotiating a hefty contract extension. Both sides are open to a future together, But Ingram's desire for a high-priced extension means the Pelicans need to keep the lines of communication open with him and his representatives about his potential future in New Orleans. This offseason, the Pelicans added All-Star guard DeJounte Murray from the Atlanta Hawks, creating one of the most well-rounded rosters New Orleans has seen in recent memory. The Pelicans might take a wait-and-see approach into the regular season, letting player performance and team success dictate any necessary roster moves. With both the Jazz and Pelicans facing major financial decisions, many teams across the league are focusing on internal dynamics and strengthening their rosters. As one high-ranking team official noted in Las Vegas, it might be one of the quieter summers. Now let's talk about the Miami Heat pursuing Lauri Markkanen. Last offseason, Miami was actively pursuing Damian Lillard, and while that didn't pan out, they might have another shot at landing a star in Lauri Markkanen if they can make the right offer. However, compared to other suitors, the Heat's trade assets don't stack up as well. They lack ownership of their first-round picks in 2025 and 2027, and their top young talent doesn't quite match up with the competition. If the Jazz are looking to maximize their return on Markkanen, Miami might not be their ideal trade partner. Danny Ainge is known for making moves that push the Jazz toward championship contention, and giving up Markkanen would require a big-time offer. A glance at the Heat's draft picks reveals many are tied up with other teams and can't be moved. So while the Heat often show interest in top players, their actual ability to make a competitive offer may be limited. Despite this, the Heat have a highly talented roster and could be just one major piece away from reaching the next level. In Miami, Markkanen could form a formidable trio alongside Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, potentially pushing the team into serious contention. The Minnesota Timberwolves have joined the list of teams showing interest in Utah sharpshooter Lauri Markkanen. While the Jazz might prefer to build around Markkanen, especially with their stockpile of first-round picks from Minnesota and Cleveland in the loaded 2025 draft, trading him could be an option. The key question is whether they would seek more draft capital or up-and-coming talent in return. The Timberwolves, having already given up a significant chunk of their future draft capital in the Rudy Gobert trade, would likely need to consider trading Karl Anthony Towns or Jaden McDaniels to acquire Markkanen. However, a Towns for Markkanen swap seems unlikely as their playing styles are similar, and Markkanen is younger and cheaper. McDaniels, on the other hand, is a 23-year-old premier wing defender with a developing offensive game, though it's not at Markkanen's level. Interestingly, Markkanen was the 7th overall pick in the 2017 draft, originally owned by the Timberwolves before being traded to the Bulls in the Jimmy Butler blockbuster. He spent 4 seasons in Chicago and 1 in Cleveland before joining the Jazz in 2022. Despite not being a defensive standout, Markkanen has positively impacted his team's defensive on-off splits in 5 of his 7 professional seasons, outperforming Towns in this regard. The debate over whether Markkanen is an upgrade over Towns is ongoing. While Markkanen is undoubtedly a better offensive player than McDaniels, McDaniels' defensive prowess is invaluable to the Timberwolves, making a trade for him seem unlikely. However, if a lucrative offer comes across the table, there's always a chance. In such a case, the Jazz would likely demand more than just McDaniels, possibly several second-round picks. Shipping out more draft assets is not ideal for Minnesota, nor is pairing Towns with Markkanen in the front court. Thus, while the Timberwolves' interest in Markkanen is noteworthy, it doesn't necessarily mean a trade is imminent. Acquiring Markkanen will be challenging given the lack of assets, but the interest indicates that Towns and potentially McDaniels are not entirely off the table in trade discussions. And there you have it. The buzz around Lauri Markkanen's potential trade has fans and teams on edge. Whether he stays with the Jazz or heads to a new team like the Timberwolves, the NBA landscape could shift dramatically. Now, we want to hear from you. Who do you think should go all in for Markkanen? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to NBA Swish for more basketball content just like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.